people from many denominations gathered at St Mary's Immaculate Church last night to celebrate the Worldwide Week of Unity. Prayers for peace were said for countries torn by religious differences, and hymns were sung to praise the triumphs of church leaders in their attempts to join the fragmented Christian religion. Bishop Appleby was one of the many clergymen in attendance.
The reason is quite simply that it was Jesus' clear intention that his church should be one and not divided up into denominations and groups, and that we are wanting to give some expression to Jesus' intention and to give thanks for the growing together of Christians after all the divisions. This is not just something we're doing here, of course, it's a worldwide thing that Christians all around the world gather for a week of prayer for Christian unity, meet together, working toward the unity of the church.
Good morning. Well, certainly it was an action-packed weekend, with a big sporting event this weekend being the 1983 FA Cup. And the boys from Manchester United and Brighton have got to do it all again next Thursday. It was 2-2 at the end of extra time, 120 minutes of football, and this is how it happened.
Other than the Olympics opening ceremony, nothing matches the atmosphere of an FA Cup final day. For the moment, it was the fan show before the footballers walked out. Through the famous tunnel, Brighton in blue and white against the red and white of Manchester United. For Brighton, relegated to second division, an opportunity to salvage lost pride. And they went part of the way in the 13th minute, scoring a shock goal.
It's there! Gordon Smith for Brighton after 14 minutes.
8 minutes into the second half, Brighton lose Ramsey after a heavy tackle. Like a side of beef, he's taken from the field, and while that was happening, Manchester got the equaliser.
Right side, Stapleton!
The famous bald patch of Brighton manager Tommy Melia was furrowed. Even more so when 6 minutes later, a goal to cherish. Ray Wilkins for United.
From the back, and Wilkins has curved one, and that's absolutely magnificent! Ray Wilkins!
Suspended Brighton captain Steve Foster and Tommy Melia seemed to lose faith. But just 4 minutes to go, Gary Stevens put the Seagulls' dreams back on the track.
Little touch for Stevens! 2-2!
Manchester had by far the most scoring opportunities, but Brighton let the glass slipper off the foot with seconds to go in extra time.
It's Smith, and Bailey is saved! And the flag stays.
Then a subdued lap of honour, all hoping the result will be different when they meet again Friday our time. North of Wembley, a result. At Glasgow, the Scottish FA Cup final had gone into extra time before Aberdeen beat Rangers 1-0.
The big rugby league clash yesterday in Sydney Rugby League was the clash between Canterbury and Cronulla at the Endeavour Field. Here are the highlights.
In Canterbury's worst game of the year, Steve Mortimer's face mirrors the frustration.
That he's not in the sin bin, a player.
One of the few goers for the losers was prop Jeff Robinson.
One of the most recognisable faces, about 30 metres out from
the only try of the match,
line.
Miller to Kurt Sorensen, and onto Cronulla centre Chris Gardner.
Giving it to
Chris Gardner. Gardner's going for the corner. He's got the fullback to beat. He's in. He's over to score. A try to Cronulla Sutherland.
Now watch for the bomb.
From a bomb, it looked like the Sharks might have scored again.
And pressure for Sankey. He's lost it. This is a try.
But referee Mick Stone ruled a knock-on in goal.
McMahon almost in the clear. Here's a chance for
At Queanbeyan, the standard just had to be better. Coming up, just 1 of 5 for the Raiders. Newtown briefly hit back. But have a look at the galloping Canberra lock, Ashley Gilbert.
They won't catch him. He's down towards the quarter, and a try to Gilbert. Gilbert scores.
Former Sydney sider Ronnie Gitto scored 15 points, including 4 from this one.
Gitto now. Gitto going for the line. He'll score.
Well, as you know by now that a lot of the rugby league games were called off in Sydney yesterday, but the Swans played Collingwood at the Sydney Cricket Ground and got away with a victory. The Swans 18-13, 121, have defeated Collingwood 14-15, 100. Lee Morn will have all today's sport in our news at 6 this evening. Have a great day.
The 27-year-old Newcastle man was transported by rescue helicopter and arrived at Fletcher Park at about 6:30 last night. He is suffering leg injuries and is reported to be in a satisfactory condition in Royal Newcastle Hospital. The accident happened at 3:30 yesterday afternoon on Lakes Way west of Bungwall. Police say the man from Newcastle was trapped for 2 hours following the two-car head-on collision. The driver of the other car was taken to Bulahdelah Hospital suffering face lacerations. Investigations are continuing and police are expected to lay charges later today.
On the central coast around Wyong, the recent rain is also having its effect, but nothing too serious yet, according to Wyong's Emergency Control and Fire Office. At this stage, it looks worse than it really is. On the floodplain at Warnervale, they're fairly used to sheets of water covering the grazing and swampland. Admittedly, the 82 millimetres or so that's fallen in the area over the past 30 hours has covered and blocked off the Louisiana and Minnesota roads, causing motorists to take about a 5-kilometre detour. The emergency authority says if the present drizzle was to turn to continuous heavy rain, the Wyong area, particularly Warnervale, could have real problems as there were in 1976. However, that remains to be seen.
Well, it doesn't really surprise me, Mike, not having seen the team at the start of the year and the way we've progressed. But having been here 3 years, I'm not sort of really used to it.
One of the hard things, from my point of view, is that you're sitting at the top of the ladder, and yet you have not got one sole representative in the national train-on squads. That's got to be disappointing.
Yes, it is naturally disappointing, but the way the Newcastle-Sydney relationship goes with selections, it doesn't really surprise me.
This weekend you've got a real tough job. You've got two of Australia's best strikers to come up against, Marcel Soper and also Kusos. Going to be a tough battle for you.
Yes, they're two very good players. I've played with Mark in the Australian youth team, and I know all his tricks, so to speak, and I've played against Marshall several times, so I'll be prepared for them anyway.
Decisions been made?
Well, at this stage, the West Maitland game, which was on at Harker Oval tomorrow, has been postponed till Sunday. There'll be a ground inspection on Sunday morning of that ground, and we'll make a decision then. Other than that, all games are still on this weekend.
As listed. So Curry plays Central at Curry tomorrow?
If there's no heavy rain overnight, the Curry Central match should go as scheduled tomorrow.
How confident are you about the inspections on Sunday morning?
Well, we're hopeful. I feel sure. People have got to realise that rugby league's a winter sport, and we're going to chop these grounds up a little bit, but that's the name of the game. We just can't keep putting games off all the time.
Graham, in modern times things have changed. It was played hell and high water a few years ago, but now it seems the ovals boards and the councils are very reluctant to allow their grounds to be chopped up.
Yes, that's correct. I can understand this to a certain point with all the money that's being channelled into some of these grounds now, but by the same token, we've got to realise that it is a winter sport, and I keep repeating this, and every effort should be made that not just rugby league, but all games are played under pretty trying conditions at times.
At this stage, one change only. Western Maitland from Saturday to Sunday, all else stands.
That's exactly right.
Shannon has the great record of 46 full international appearances for England and gained 9 youth caps prior to that. He's played with his home club Southampton Town, with Manchester City and with his current club Norwich City. Shannon guested with KB United in 1981 and created a great impression with fans and administrators alike. His famous swinging arm after scoring is known throughout the soccer world. He is simply a class player, and his very presence will ensure that the locals maintain their high ranking enjoyed at the moment.
Shannon found himself free. He took on his defender Con Cambers. He turned himself inside out, and finally the right foot shot left it sprawling. And there's the swinging right arm again of Michael Shannon.
In days gone by, Australian beer was hauled from brewery to pub in a wagon drawn by Clydesdale horses. Motor transport has since taken over, but one Victorian brewery is determined not to let the tradition of the horse-drawn beer wagon die. For promotional purposes, the Carlton and United Brewery maintains 2 teams of Clydesdales. The largest of those teams, made up of 6 horses, is stabled at Taree, but the team spends most of its time touring. For driver Terry Goodyear and his 2 grooms, life on the road isn't easy. They were up before the sun this morning, preparing the Clydesdales for the drive through Newcastle. Each of the horses was meticulously groomed and dressed before being harnessed to their wagon. The wagon, like the Clydesdales, is a relic of the past. It was created from the remains of 3 brewery wagons found on a Victorian property. The team set out on its jaunt through the city shortly before 11 o'clock this morning, with Terry Goodyear and his dog Carlton up front.
Heads up! Hit! Hit!
On its arrival in Hunter Street, the team turned many heads, but those hoping for a taste of old world brew were disappointed. The oak beer barrels were sadly empty.
The group came into being last night when the unemployed members of 4 unions, the Amalgamated Metal, Foundry and Shipwrights Union, the Building Workers Industrial Union, the Australasian Meat Industry Employees Union and the Plumbers Union, decided to form a united front in the search for employment. One of the major concerns of the group is that employers may bring in workers from outside the region, and they are looking to the Trades Hall Council and the Lord Mayor Alderman Joy Cummings for support to ensure local labour is used on Newcastle construction sites.
Well, I don't know how we can support it. It's really out of Council's hands, but we can give it moral support, certainly. But I think that the best thing that the committee could do would be to go to the Kearns people on the Waratah estate and talk to them, make sure that there's no demarcation.
The group is seeking employment for its out-of-work tradesmen at construction sites such as the Waratah estate. Kearns, which is developing the site, says it's always been its policy to employ local tradesmen. So they say it's just a matter for the local group to approach them.
Thanks, John. Good morning. Well, looks like that good weather's gone for quite a while. We're back to our usual surfing conditions. Terrible this morning. The wind's on shore. The waves are messy. Doesn't look like being too good a day for the beach. Around the beaches this morning, waves around 1.5, occasionally 1.8 metres, but it's very, very choppy and messy, and it's hard to distinguish the waves at all. Not looking too good at any of the city beaches. If you're really keen, try the southern corners. They've got about as much protection as you'll find anywhere, and they're not looking very good either. We're at Merewether at the moment. Should be some of the better waves around town, but they're not. If you'd like to go for a swim, take care. There are bad rips and sweeps at all city beaches. And now for a look at our weather. The forecast, cold early with inland morning fog or drizzle. A cool afternoon with lengthy sunny periods, but a few coastal showers. Southeasterly winds at 20 to 40 kilometres per hour and slight seas on a low to moderate swell. Newcastle expecting a top today of 17 degrees, Scone 16 degrees. Low tide will be at 1 minute past 8 this morning, 0.6 of a metre. High tide at 2:15 this afternoon, 1.3 metres. And the outlook for Saturday, cool with a few showers clearing. Trivia department this morning, the Australian Professional Surfing Association has estimated that there are 1 million surfers in Australia, I beg your pardon. 300,000 of those surfers apparently live in Sydney, and a further big amount of those surfers live in the Newcastle region. A lot of guys in the water. It just means that next summer's going to be even bigger than last one. Anyway, around the beaches this morning, 1.5 to 1.8 metres, choppy conditions, onshore winds, a few showers along the coast, and a top of 17 degrees. Have a great day, have a great weekend. It looks like there are a few more showers headed our way. Back again on Monday morning.
The Mobile Low Vision Clinic Eye Research Unit. That's its official title. In fact, it's an ordinary caravan, fitted out with equipment that's far from ordinary. The clinic is designed to help people whose vision has deteriorated to the stage where normal glasses just don't work. The service, previously available only in Sydney, will now be used in country centres throughout the state. It'll provide prescriptions for appliances and other optical aids, as well as training on how to properly use them. Beatrice Phillips is 89 and travelled from Cessnock today. She saw Dr. Max Lang, an optometrist with the Royal Blind Society, and Beatrice was full of praise.
Perfect. It's the first time I've been in one, and I can't find any faults. None whatever.
The mobile clinic will be used to obtain statistics on visual handicaps otherwise unattainable. And in conjunction with the Lions Clubs of New South Wales, it will also conduct screening programs to detect early signs of sight problems. It's a godsend for physically handicapped people and the elderly who find travel difficult, and for patients in nursing homes and hospitals. It's the only unit of its kind in Australia, and today was its first ever trial. The Royal Blind Society hopes it's the first of many visits to Newcastle.
Cool Rules OK is very much in the style which has become a trademark of Free Will's Theatre and Education Company. It's funny, theatrical and deceptively simple, with a highly serious purpose behind its comic face. The subject matter this time is peer group pressure, and the play explores the things kids will do to be accepted as one of the gang. It also touches on the pain of those who are excluded because they're different, a darker side to the problem I would have liked to have seen dealt with a bit more deeply. But of course, there are only a limited number of things you can do in a play designed for a 50-minute school period, and Free Wills has gone for breadth rather than depth, airing a wide number of problems, from drinking to dating, from vandalism to teacher baiting. While I did think the play could have been a little bit tougher, it's still a remarkable piece of writing from former Free Wills actor Stephen Abbott. He has a terrific ear for the colourful speech of teenagers, and his play has a nice sense of balance, with scenes of youthful bravado contrasting with scenes where the bravado doesn't quite come off. Cool Rules OK is to act as a stimulus for discussion in schools, and I'm sure it'll do that, but it will also provide 50 minutes of highly entertaining theatrics. I wish more mums and dads could see this one.
other unwieldy vessels on the surface, the sub took about 30 minutes to reach the fjord with the aid of naval reserve events. The sub will be open for inspection by groups on Saturday morning and the general public on Sunday afternoon. The 90-metre vessel has a crew of 6 sailors and 8 officers, so there is no shortage of willing hands when vital supplies were loaded as soon as the gangsters were closed.